Your response then in the next moment is to go to, well, it's not real anyway, or it's not what I am. You're bypassing.
Yeah.
You see, we're using the non-dual to get rid of the pain of what's showing up in the story of me,
Yeah.
the experience of personal me. You see,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so if we use the non-dual for that, we're going to another realm, to another lens of perception, to ignore it, turn down the volume on it, when actually there's a gem there. If we feel uncomfortable because we've seen a piece of conditioning, it's like, okay, so let's go stay with the feeling of being uncomfortable. What's that? Your open questions, as you're saying, you know, what's that? What makes it uncomfortable? Is it that I shouldn't have that conditioning, or is it shame? Is it helplessness? Is it hopeless? Is it unworthiness? Is it I expected myself to know better? What self-judgment? What is the root of that uncomfortableness? That's the level of identification I'd be after there. What's the pattern there? And let that kind of unworthiness, shame is kind of what it might be for most. Let it move through, you know, because our guilt, you know, those kind of emotions are the stickiest because they don't move. They can keep us stuck. There's a paralysis in those. And the emotions that have a paralysis, so despair, guilt, shame, helplessness, fear. That's an example. There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Those ones, what we got to do is like, all right, it's welcome. It's welcome. Let it be in my body. Don't jump into the non-dual. Don't jump in. Let it be here.
Yeah.
What we need to do is give it movement. If you can train your brain and your body to give movement to the emotions that are about freezing you.
Yeah.
You see, because guilt and shame is like, that's what they're there. It's to protect you by freezing you. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't do anything here and you'd be safer. And we learned that way back, way back. We just got to stop everything. And that's the best way I can stay safe here. And some of us left our bodies when the experience was too bad, you know?
It's like trauma, like the people use the word trauma a lot these days, and it is a trauma. Yeah.
It is. It's a trauma. It's a trauma. And so if there's any of those types of emotions that like they're kind of stuck and they're really uncomfortable, and we want to go into the non-dual in order to get out of them because they just don't freaking move. So, let them move through your body. Bring in movement. Let it move up through. Like move your arms, move your eyes, move your face.
Just literally just like feel the emotion and feel your physical, just let your body,
literally move
physical
your body.
movement.
Literally, because it's the opposite of what it's trying to do. It's trying to make you freeze so that you protect yourself. Don't move. You won't attract any attention to yourself and you'll stay safe.
Yeah.
That's where we learned it. Those ones that they're shitty to experience. Guilt, shame, despair. We're frozen.
Yeah.
They're awful. And they can stay around for days, weeks, you know, like that awful pit in your stomach. It's like, okay, bring in movement to it. Go for a swim, go for a run, you know, move your eyes, move your face, like let it be here and bring in movement. And if it moves, it can leave you. It will leave you.
Yeah.
It will leave you.
Yeah.
You know, it will leave you.
In that moment. And say if it's like a conditioning thing that you've seen like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's just like every time it comes, just do the same thing. Like we don't need to be concerned, do we, if it's how long it's going to stay around for.
If you train your brain and your body to like, oh, I know this feeling. I need to move my body and move it out. The next time it comes, you won't need to, it'll move faster. Next time it'll move faster. You'll be training your body to like, oh, there's unworthiness or there's despair, there's helplessness. You automatically go into moving. It will be over in seconds. In seconds, because you're bringing motion to it rather than waiting for months for something that we didn't know to move it on, which was motion. So it's like bring mobility to it and get it moving. We'll shorten our experience of it so that it's like, oh, there's that. And we'll automatically end up moving. It's like, whew, I'm going to just go to the loo or move myself out of this room and shake like crazy. And you shake it off. You can be done in half a minute.
I think that's really good advice. And I think then we don't really have to go into our minds, because there's this
That's right.
whole kind
That's
of tool, that you have to go in and like you have to find where it happened in childhood and all. And it's so stressful, like to go there, I think. And it's hard, like it's difficult, and you're just going into the feeling, but in a frozen way. You're like,
That's
because
right.
it's already frozen, then you're thinking,
That's
so
right.
I think this movement
well
thing is
done.
good.
Yeah, it's the body. The body is the way out of the freeze state.
Yeah.
Moving the body.
Mm.
Yeah. It's the way out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were right. And it's contrary to what we do.
Yeah.
We end up thinking it to death and, analysis paralysis. Like that's what happens,
Like, I think if anybody can take even just one thing from this chat, like I think that's a huge thing. Because if we don't get stuck in the stuck feelings, then like it's hard to have much of a problem with anything else, isn't it?
You said it, Amba. Exactly that. Yeah. Exactly that.
So I actually think we've said it like 1,000 times already, but someone asked me to ask you if there's any particular, or if you recommend